Hello friends, this is Dr. Whiting, and today I want to talk about a variety of weight management concepts that we have put together to make what we call our weight management revolution. Each and every one of these things we have discussed individually, and they work. They work by themselves quite well. However, when you combine them together, they work ever so much better. And today I want to talk to you about how to put them all together. First and foremost, there's the keto type diet. And for the last couple of years, that has become all the rage. And the keto diet is basically a low carbohydrate diet with increased fat intake. And that increased fat is theoretically designed to stimulate fat burning, and it works. But there's some things you need to know about that. If you're going to follow a keto type diet, which is higher in fat, you must keep your carbohydrates below 20 grams a day. Because if you're not in ketosis when you are in a keto diet, your body will convert back to burning glucose for fuel and store all that fat in your fat cells. And that is not going to be a good thing. That's why we've noticed a lot of people over the years that have embarked on a keto diet incorrectly have ended up actually gaining weight. So you must keep yourself in what we call ketosis, or the fat burning state, in order to accomplish weight loss with that program. Then this year, something new came on the scene, and that's called intermittent fasting. And intermittent fasting really became popular through the work of Dr. Jason Fung, a Canadian MD, through his two books, The Obesity Code and The Diabetes Code. And he had it right on. He knew and knows that you have to follow a lower carbohydrate diet program in order to get the maximum benefit from fasting. Well, here's the problem with that now. I've gone online to a lot of these social chat groups that are now out there for people who want to do intermittent fasting. And so many of those people are under the erroneous belief that intermittent fasting is a diet. It is not a diet. It is not in and of itself a weight loss program. It is a tool to help you with weight loss, should that be something you want to use. But in order to get the maximum benefit from intermittent fasting, you absolutely have to be on the right diet program for you before you implement the fasting. So in other words, if you're a calorie person and you're counting calories and calorie counting is working for you, which, by the way, it only works long term for about 30% of us, but if you're counting calories, then you would stay with the calorie counting program and then implement intermittent fasting. If you are what we call a carbohydrate intolerant, an individual who cannot ingest high amounts of sugar-forming foods, so starches and sugars, without gaining weight, then you have to follow a low carbohydrate diet or the keto diet. If that has worked for you, then that's the program you should follow, and then you should implement the intermittent fasting. But you see so many of these people who are on like 16 and 8. They fast for 16 hours and they eat whatever they want for 8 hours. Well, chances are that that might produce some small temporary benefit. But in the long run, unless you're controlling what you eat, and in some cases how much you eat of it, it's going to be minimally effective. And that's a shame, because intermittent fasting is a great tool. It is just become popular again. It is not new by any means. Human beings have been following this type of fasting since the dawn of time practically, and didn't have a label for it. And that was because more or less of circumstance. See, it's only been in the last 80 or 100 years that people eat constantly all day whatever they want. And that has produced the greatest epidemic of overweight and obesity in human history. So obviously it's not serving us well. The next thing I want to talk about are the starvation hormones that your body produces when it perceives starvation crisis occurring. And these hormones are produced primarily under two specific circumstances. Starvation hormones are something, if you're on a weight loss program, that you want to avoid at all costs, because it not only can slow your weight loss progress down, it is the number one reason why people plateau on a weight loss program. They just simply stop losing weight. And that's because when the body produces significant amounts of starvation hormones, your body goes into hibernation. It begins to slow your metabolism down, just like the animals and the bears in the woods over the winter, because it's trying to conserve your resources, your storehouse of energy, so that you can survive the long winter. Your ancient genetics don't realize that there are fast food restaurants open 24 hours a day. And so the first reason or circumstance under which you may produce these starvation hormones and sabotage your weight loss would be from consuming too little food. This primarily occurs in people who are counting calories, because they figure, well, if I'm on a 1,200 calorie diet and I'm losing 2 pounds a week, what happens if I go down to 1,000 calories? Or how about 800? I'll bet I'll lose weight faster and get this over with quicker. And for most people, they will lose weight faster, but only very temporarily, because in caloric intake much below 1,200 calories, your body begins to perceive that as starvation. And when it does that, then it begins to slow your metabolism, and you will eventually plateau. And people have gone down to ridiculously low calories, 600, 500, and have not lost a single ounce, because their body is in hibernation. Their metabolism has been slowed down to near zero. And when a plateau hits for a calorie-sensitive person, you have to increase your calories temporarily, not decrease them. The second circumstance under which starvation hormones may be produced is nutrient deficiencies. See, we eat food not just for calories, not just for energy, but we also eat food for the 100+ nutrients that are contained or used to be contained in those foods a long time ago. And according to a great many research studies, the standard American diet produces less than 50% of the optimal level of nutrients that we need on a daily basis for body chemistry function. That means that we are all mostly nutrient deficient all the time, and the end result can often produce intense cravings for various foods, especially starch and sugary foods, because sugar in its refined form is probably one of the most addictive substances there are. And in the amounts that most of us consume those, it's a wonder that, or I should say it's no wonder, that we have the greatest epidemic of obesity in the world, in human history, because of this fuel of highly refined carbohydrates and sugars. And once those get into your system, they raise your blood sugar. Insulin lowers your blood sugar once again, and then you start to crave starches and sugars to raise the blood sugar back up. And this is what we call the blood sugar balancing act. And it is a balance between your blood sugar and the hormone insulin. When you consume these sugary foods, or these refined carbohydrates especially, your blood sugar rises rather rapidly. When that happens, your pancreas secretes the hormone insulin. Its primary function is to drive down blood sugar by removing it from the bloodstream and ultimately storing it in your fat cells. So the more often you consume these foods, the more insulin your body produces. And over time, your body becomes what we call insulin resistant. In other words, the insulin receptor sites that are necessary to transport blood sugar away from your bloodstream become less and less sensitive. The end result is that your body must produce higher and higher amounts of insulin in order to remove blood sugar. Over time, this insulin resistance can result in type 2 diabetes. In fact, that's what type 2 diabetes really is. It's ultimate insulin resistance. Now, how can we help the body with this balancing act? Well, one of the best ways is to reduce the consumption of starch and sugary foods. However, I realize that that is an idealistic point of view. Because these foods are so highly addictive, we all consume them. We can try to consume less, and that's a good thing. But ultimately, we all consume them because every time we turn around, they're there, ready to have a go at our cravings. And one of the ways that we found to help with that is a group of nutrients that we developed in combination. And what they have shown is that they primarily can lower insulin levels. And when you lower insulin levels, your blood sugar stabilizes, your cravings go away, and it makes life and dieting a whole lot easier. These nutrients include, among others, chromium, vanadium, the amino acid aspartic acid, and cinnamon extract. These, along with several other cofactors, have been shown to be extremely beneficial in helping type 2 diabetics to control their cravings, balance their blood sugar, and of course lower their insulin levels. And for the longest time, we used this formula primarily for diabetics, and then we discovered something really wonderful, that this formula is ideal for anyone who's carbohydrate intolerant or what we call insulin resistant. Because insulin resistance or carbohydrate intolerance is prediabetes, no matter which way you look at it. And so we started using these on carbohydrate intolerant people. It not only helped them to lose weight, it virtually eliminated their cravings for starch and sugary foods. And when we tested their blood sugar and insulin levels, both were far more stable than before. So we helped the blood sugar balancing act incredibly conveniently. All of these things, when used together, can produce the greatest possible result. We have used them individually. We've used keto, we've used low carb, we've used low calorie, we've used fasting, we've used nutrients, etc. But when you combine them all together, the benefits for not only weight management, but for insulin resistance and other metabolic issues becomes tenfold beneficial. And this program is now available through our Research Institute. You can contact us at 888-454-8464. You can email us at askthedoc@healthyinformation.com. And we will set you on the pathway to using this program in combination. You can also download what we have called the Weight Management Revolution Guidebook. It is available on Amazon as an instant download. Just go into Amazon under your account and type in the search, the Weight Management Revolution. And our book will come up and you can download it instantly. It covers all of these things and shows you how to put them all together in one program that is not only powerful, but extremely effective. Let's make 2020 the year in which more of us finally get our weight problem under control once and for all, and keep it there. This is Dr. Whiting. Thanks for listening.